All right, back for part four. Sorry about moving around the camera a little bit there. But this is where we're at right now. We got the two wings of the motel, built basically. There's a lot to be done yet. But let's take a look here. This is kind of how I have it visioned with the roof, kind of a shed roof. You can see it kind of. This is actually not mislined. This is this wall here is removable because on each end of these, I'm gonna fully detail a hotel room, a motel room, bed, TVs, and the bathroom, the whole works. I got all the openings ready for doors and windows. So here's what it looks like without the top and the bottom. So we're going to give this a good coat of white. I usually use Krylon. So I'll give her a good coat, and then after it dries good for a day, then I'll mask off these pieces here. And I'm going to paint these blue. I'm just going to spray them. So I'll mask this off real good so it doesn't get any overspray. I'm going to paint this inside and out. I'm going to put a layer of paint on the inside and on the outside. That'll help with any kind of paint, or not paint, light bleed through. Because I'm going to light a couple of the rooms. I plan on getting a few of the Evans Designs welding lights that I use for TVs in the other motel. So we're going to have some flickering TV lights in a couple of the rooms. But I don't want that light to leak out. So you got to make sure you give a good coat of paint. I used 60 on the 60 hundredths of an inch, or about, what is it, millimeter and a half maybe, I'm thinking. I'd have to look on the package to see for sure. But this is what we got. You can see that I got little dividing walls that keeps nice and firm. Now there is a little bit of a bend in these, but that's going to get straightened out when I put it on its base and glue it down. Then I'll be able to straighten it out, get it a bit more square than it is. But I have pieces of angle, as you can see on the corners of the walls, just as some reinforcement. It doesn't have to be super neat because it's indoors. Nobody's going to see it inside there, except for that room. That room I didn't put any in. So this here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bathroom in, and then we'll probably have the vanity sink like you see in a lot of motels. There'll be a tub and a toilet, and then the sink will be separate. That'll be the bathroom. And then we'll have the bed and the TV over here, little dresser and a chair, and we'll go from there. But we're gonna definitely do these so I can put little scenes in these, and then all we gotta do is just lift up the wall. I have a channel in there. You can see the channel, so that'll slide in there more or less. It will once I get everything. Once I get the walls glued down to the base, this will sit in here a lot better. But that's the same way that I did the wall on the Love Shack. So, and in the center here, I'm going to build another building, and that's going to be the office. And then when I get all the pieces done, then I'll glue here and here to the office part. Now the office I'm going to have come out, I think maybe a little bit more out. So, and then it's going to have its roof come out a little bit so it serves as a what do they call it, a canopy for when people pull up and want to check in. And then so it'll be even with the back wall, but then I'm going to put a little bump out here so that it kind of simulates the living quarters of the motel. And I'm going to use a piece of hardboard for the base rather than styrene. And the reason being is it works just as fine as styrene, and it offers a little better support. I have it in stock here, and it's a lot cheaper than getting a big sheet. You know, I mean, I could do it with the separate sheets like this and then butt it together and glue it, but then my seam's going to be a little fragile. And the building's going to sit on the lot, but, you know, there's going to be times you might have to pick it up and move it or something like that. So I don't want to pick it up and have it snap in the middle. So what we'll do is we're going to have a continuous base, and that's going to be hardboard. And then I'll have it glued together at the walls. And that'll give it enough reinforcement so that if it needs to be moved, it can be moved. So basically at this point, I'm going to be building the office next. It's ready to paint. You know, I can throw a coat of white on it and then do the trim, paint the trim. So I'll be doing that also in the next couple days. I'm going to go visit my grandson tomorrow. I don't get to see him very often, so tomorrow we're going to go visit him. So probably won't be doing much tomorrow. And then Wednesday I'm going shopping. And having butter scones with tea, of course. Gotta, right? And so probably won't get back at it until probably Thursday. So, but this is what we got done so far. Right now, total time in the whole project is about 16 and a half hours to get to this point. You know, it just takes time. You know, you gotta, you know, measure 2, 3, 8, 20 times, you know. I measure a whole bunch because it's expensive when you make a mistake, and, you know, when you're looking at each one of those sheets of plastic, costs about $5 now, $4 to $5, depending on the thickness and where you buy it. And so far, I got 3 sheets of plastic into this, and a package, probably a package and a half of angle, so that's probably about another $6. Little supports in the front, that's another couple bucks. You know, it all adds up. Probably so far in the materials, I'm probably looking at about 20 total. $20, $25 probably in materials so far. And that doesn't include the doors and the windows. Doors and windows for each side are about $10. So I got about $20 of doors and windows just on each side. You know, then you got your lighting, plus all the details for the rooms. You know, money adds up. You know, but this way you guys can kind of see where it goes. You know, and I build thrifty as I can. So, anyways, this is where we're at, and hopefully we'll get another video out in a couple days. So we'll see you then.